Hello, long time no talk. Welcome back to JV Foodie. Today is National Onion Ring Day. Onion rings are my favorite side for a burger, so let's make some onion rings. We are going to do two different methods, styles, ways, whatever, of making onion rings today. We're going to do an air fryer version, and then we're going to do a traditional deep fried oil delicious version. So air fryer first because, well, I feel like more people have an air fryer now than ever before, and they're healthier, quote unquote. So air fryer version first. This recipe is coming from Make Your Meals. I found them on Pinterest, and the recipe is decently simple and pretty straightforward. The first thing you're going to do is take your half cup, or about 81 grams worth of all-purpose flour, and add to that 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, I actually did not do this. I went straight for some Lawry's seasoning salt, and I used 1.5 teaspoons, or about 8 grams worth of Lawry's seasoning salt. And I dumped that right into my flour and gave that a good stir. Up next, you are going to crack your 1 large egg into a shallow dish and add 1 tablespoon, or about 15 milliliters of water, and lightly beat these together until combined. The next thing I did was I sliced up my 1 large sweet onion. So I did 1/2-inch slices, and then I didn't weigh out how much onion I actually ended up using because I just picked out the slices I liked best that I thought would make the best onion rings, and the rest I saved for other uses. Now we're going to need to get our dredging assembly line set up. So you have your onions, you have your flour and seasoning mix, you have your beaten egg and water mixture, and then the very last thing you're going to need is 1 cup's worth, or about 85 grams of panko breadcrumbs. That's going to be your last step. So how are we building these things? You're going to take your raw onion slice, and it's going to go into your flour mixture first. So right into the flour, shake off any excess, and then it's going to go into your egg. Make sure your onion slice gets coated nicely in your egg, but shake off any excess before it goes into your panko so that your panko has something to stick to. I found that the panko was having a bit of a hard time sticking, so I actually did half of my onion rings for this batch as a double dredge. So for half of them, I only did flour, egg, panko. For the other half, I did flour, egg, and then panko, and that seemed to help the panko stick better. So if you are worried about the panko adhering, maybe just go straight for that first double dredge, and I think that will significantly help you. Before I pop these into the air fryer, I'm going to give them a good spray with some cooking oil. I'm using my trusty Trader Joe's avocado oil. Spray both sides of your onion rings down before they go in. So now into the air fryer we go. We're going in at a 375°F or 190°C air fryer, and they are going to cook for approximately 10 minutes until they are golden brown and crispy on both sides. Now, something we didn't do, so there's no footage for it because I just didn't do this, is the original recipe actually says to flip the onion rings at the 6-minute mark. So about halfway, if you were using a traditional air fryer basket, I would flip your onion rings over so that both sides get that exposure to that hot air circulating around. After 10 minutes has gone by, you can pull these bad boys out of your air fryer, and sure enough, they are golden brown and they feel and look like they are crispy. Since we're doing another version, I'm going to pop these into a slightly warm oven to keep them warm until we're ready to eat. So onwards to the fried ones. So now for our fried version. So for our fried version, before we do anything else, we need to get the oil going because you can't fry anything without hot oil. And this oil needs to come up to 350°F or about 176°C. So I'm taking about half of this gigantic tub of oil I have. Actually, it's not that big, but still. And I'm adding it to my Dutch oven over medium-high heat. And then I'm going to add my candy thermometer to this so that I can watch the temperature and see how it is doing. While this oil is heating up, we are going to get everything else ready to go. While our oil heats up, we are going to make our batter for our onion slices. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to need to take 6 ounces, or about 175 milliliters of preferably a lighter beer, and you are going to add that to a shallow dish along with 1 large egg, and you are going to whisk this together until combined. Now, the original recipe from Tornado Alley actually has the next step as to combine your baking powder, flour, and salt, pepper, and onion powder together, and I'm here to tell you that I did not do this either, just like the first one. I somehow forgot the baking powder in this recipe. I could not tell you why. It was a long day that day, so that's probably it. But I then also chose to use Lawry seasoning salt again. So for me, I used half a cup, or 81 grams worth of all-purpose flour, and then to that I added 1.5 teaspoons, or about 8 grams worth of Lawry's seasoning salt. Once you have your seasoned flour all ready to go, you are then going to slowly, while continuously stirring, add your beer and egg mixture to this so that you have very few clumps. So a little bit at a time, stirring as you go to make sure that you get a nice smooth batter. I let my batter sit and rest a little bit, and while it's doing that and our oil is still coming up to temperature, we need to cut up our additional sweet onion. So I ended up cutting up a second sweet onion into 1/2-inch slices again, picking out the pieces that I thought would be best for dipping and frying. Once we've got our onions ready, our batter's ready, we then need to make sure that we have an additional 1/2 cup or another 81 grams worth of flour on the side for our dredging situation. And once you've got that set up and your oil's heated and ready to go, it is time to fry. Similar situation as the air fryer one in terms of dredging. Your raw onion slices are going to get dipped into some flour first, shake off any excess, but this time you're going straight into that beer batter we made, get it nice and coated, and then from here they're going into your hot oil, dropping the onion away from you if possible to avoid any oil backsplash on you. Be careful not to overcrowd your pot that you have your hot oil in, because as you add those onion rings, that is going to drop the temperature down, and you want to keep the temperature around that 350 mark. So I did a max of 3 onion rings at a time, just paying attention to how they looked. Were they looking golden brown? If they were, cool, I would flip them on the other side. And then when they looked like they were nice and golden brown all around, then I pulled them from the oil with my spider or a slotted spoon if you have one, and then it went right onto a cooling rack to allow the oil to drip down. While doing this, I also had the thought of, well, what would happen if I double dredged these as well? So I did double dredge a couple of these. I did flour, beer batter, flour, beer batter. They ended up super craggly, which I do not mind, but if you mind, maybe don't do that. Also, pay close attention to your flour. Once it starts to get shaggy, you will start to get shaggy, craggly onion rings. So if you don't like that, then just be mindful of that, but they still end up being delicious. And on a complete tangent / wild idea that I decided to do, we had 2 onions that were dipped in the panko breading from the air fryer version that we had set aside and forgot to cook. I decided to deep fry these just to see what would happen. So technically I did 3 versions, but there was only 2 of this last one, so I didn't really count it. But let me tell you, once we got everything cooked and made and we dug in, we have some insights. The first one is the air fryer one just wasn't what we wanted from an onion ring. I think when you think of an onion ring, you want them oily and just that. There's a type of crisp with a fried onion ring that you just can't replicate in an air fryer. Are they good? Yeah. I wouldn't go out of my way to make these again. They were more time consuming than the beer batter ones. I didn't enjoy eating them. They took more time, so it's not worth it to me. The beer battered ones were delicious. I would say they could probably use a touch more seasoning. That's just me personally. These were my husband's favorite. And then the last ones that I did on a whim by accident, because we accidentally left those 2 on the side and forgot about them, were my personal favorite. They were crunchy and deep fried, the panko. Oh, they were so good. So honestly, if I learned anything from this, it's that if you want an onion ring, you just have to accept the oil and the calories and the cholesterol that comes from them, because it's what makes an onion ring, and it's the best. So I hope you try any of these out, or maybe you don't like onion rings, and that's fine too. I don't judge, but I hope you enjoy National Onion Ring Day, and until next time, see you later. Bye.